All right, let's get back into some football talk here, boys, because Jordan brought up a interesting breakdown here about.
Stop talking about my J president.
I mean, listen, he brought up an interesting breakdown on Caleb Williams, draft breakdown, draft prediction. Said Williams is too undisciplined, moody, immature to ever realize his potential.
I am not.
Jordan, break this down, dog. Break down this draft. Break down who we're talking about, what's going on, why we should care about this opinion. Because I'm not going to lie. When I opened it up and saw the website, I was like, yep, that checks out.
Yeah. I'll say this. The reason why I gave it a little bit of credibility is because this guy, named former NFL scout for the Jets, Daniel.
For who?
For the Jets.
For the Jets.
Hey, man, watch it. Daniel Kelly. So he actually had a pretty good resume. You know, he was under the regime of Bill Parcells. You know that name. You know Bill Belichick.
Yep.
Scott Pioli, Mike Tannenbaum. Had a few stints with being a guest on ESPN Radio, Fox Sports Radio. So decent resume, right? What he says, or the first person that has ever said, is that Caleb Williams is going to be a bust. And so that got me to thinking, like, well, what is this guy talking about? So, you know, he goes through a slew of reasons why Caleb Williams might not be generational as everybody else says. And the crazy thing, first of all, is a lot of people were grilling me for putting this video up earlier in the comment section, because saying, well, you can't really look at the credibility. And shout out to Jay Crit, because I think Jay Crit actually had this conversation with me on the comment section. He said, you can't really check out the credibility of somebody like that that's going to say he's a bust outright before he's entered the league. Well, here's my argument to that. How are you going to sit here and allow people to say the generational and Patrick Mahomes-esque before he's even taken a snap in the league as well? Those guys need to be held accountable. You have Mel Kiper out here, always, you know, wrong in his expertise, but he's one of the guys that people go to, right? So with that being said, everybody's opinion is just that. It's an opinion at the end of the day.
I love the video Joel sent earlier where it was like all of like Stephen A., Shannon Sharp, Dan Orlovsky, all of these guys basically just being like, you can explain Pat Mahomes any way you want. He's still not going to be a good quarterback in the NFL. He's on his third Super Bowl win, fourth Super Bowl appearance, sixth AFC title game win.
He also went to the right team. I really think that if if Deshaun Watson or maybe even Mitch went to that type of environment, sat for 1 year, sat for a year,
you still got to be talented.
I'm not saying he's not. I'm just saying Deshaun is definitely talented.
Deshaun would have cooked.
But the fact is that because Deshaun was killing in Texas,
Deshaun was
so it's not like they were like, yo, there's a reason he got $230 million guaranteed. You know what I'm saying? But anyways, I just think that's interesting how people were saying that about how they just don't know. It's an inexact science when it comes to this.
The worst thing about the entire Caleb conversation is everyone is looking at the draft comp, and they're not looking at it from the aspect of they're comparing his comp to rookie, first year, second year Patrick Mahomes. They're not comparing him to a polished 6-year AFC. They're not doing that. They're looking at all those intangibles that gave you that Patrick Mahomes that walked into the league. If you look at it from that aspect, it's the same draft program.
Hey, kid. Second year Pat Mahomes went to the Super Bowl and won.
What I said, they're comparing him to a young Patrick Mahomes coming into the league. They're not doing it like, oh, look at this fully established Super Bowl winning QB. They're not doing it from that aspect. They're looking at, hey, this is how he walked into the league.
First season, he was 12-4. That means you think he's gonna walk into the league and he's gonna be one of the best quarterbacks. No, his first season playing, I'm saying he was 12-4.
Yeah, but his first season playing, he was still drafted 10th. He was still a top 15 pick in his draft.
I think he was the 15th pick.
I believe.
No.
He was like 12.
12 because I think Watson went.
Deshaun was 10.
Deshaun was after him.
I'm sorry. So Patrick was 10. Deshaun was 12.
Something like that. Yeah.
Either way, I'm just saying, like, he was still a relatively high draft pick. He was top 15 in his draft class.
His first season playing, if we're setting it,
his first season playing was 5,000 yards.
If we're comparing it to a young Pat Mahomes out here, I'm just saying, dog.
I'm talking about his draft profile when they drafted him, not his first year playing.
But see, that's the thing. Well, I would say it's not that. But I think that's the thing, right? Like, you're comparing him to a dude that walked into the NFL, put up 5,050 and 12.
Well, he didn't do that his first season.
But look,
he didn't do that he sat.
His first season playing. You know what I'm talking about? His first season playing. He put up 5,050 and 12.
I get you. I'm not discrediting that, but what I'm saying is they're not comparing him to that they're looking at his draft profile.
What they comparing him to the dude that was sitting on the bench?
I mean, the dude that was sitting on the bench.
Comparing him to when he came out.
Yeah.
But the thing is this, like, you look at Mahomes, even Dak, like even Hurts, when they started to really develop and build around him. These guys, when you give them the environment so they can thrive, the thing is that they all, Caleb Williams or whoever if we move on from Fields, whoever we get needs to inherit a decent enough team so that it's not getting killed. Yeah. So I think they clearly all have a level of talent and ability. Now, some of them, maybe when they get to the NFL, the bright lights are a little too bright for them to a degree, but there's something that gets you to get the attention in the entire world, because you're one of the top. You're talking about in the world. This
GM egos,
huh?
GM egos.
Well, GM egos. That's fine.
Usually like.
But my point is that put them in an environment for them to.
We got to find the special one. We got to find the perfect one. We got to find. And you look around. You look around and you go, "Hey, you picked Mitch.
He was special.
Special at what?
Losing."
And
I was about to say,
what was it? Those 13 games that he played
in Detroit.
Are you talking about with the Bears?
Is this a joke, dog?
I didn't know where you were going with that. I'm like,
I never know with kid. I thought he was serious. I thought he was serious.
Hey, you know,
he was a Mitch fan until he threw that pick last year.
I rolled with Mitch for a minute.
I like Mitch. I thought Mitch.
He was okay.
I saw Mitch for what he was. You needed to scheme around the man, and they didn't let him do what he needed to do.
Yeah, bro.
He unemployed now. Go get him.
Hey, Mitch,
no,
Mitch,
all
right. Too late now. He's broke. He's broken now.
He is unemployed.
Hey, you know what? This going back into this article, one of the reasons why I found a little bit of it interesting is because when he starts to break down Caleb, he does give him some credit. He obviously says he's loaded with God-given raw arm strength. He has elite ability to create and extend plays, but he's underdeveloped in the finer points of the position, which means at the NFL level, is he going to throw the ball quicker, quick time, precise downfield ball placement, ball security? Those are all things that are really important at the next level, that when you go to his highlights, you don't necessarily see that more so than you see him with just the flashy plays and the big play hunts. And that's why, interesting enough, he compares this person to Caleb Williams to Zach Wilson. And then before anybody says, wait a minute, if you go back to the highlights of Zach Wilson and BYU,
Zach Wilson BYU highlights,
they kind of looked a little identical in some of the ways they played the game. Whether it was him scrambling in the pocket, trying to adjust to get that big play hunting, or the arm talent, the off script plays, that's exactly what Zach Wilson got, and what kind of corralled him or rose him up to being the second in the draft.
Yeah.
After Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
You see how polarizing this conversation is. In the same day that you read that, and I read it with you, sent that link. Yeah. He also has a scout come on and pretty much break down how Caleb does really well in getting that ball out quick, being a grip and rip type quarterback, is the exact phrase he used. So, and he's elite at that, and he only did those big game hunting type plays because he had no defense. He had to score every time. He had the Superman mentality.
Well,
so I mean, like it's a flaw. Don't get me wrong. I'm just saying, like he just said that he doesn't excel in that. And it was like.
But see,
it's a lot of people that would say differently.
Look, back in the day, they used to draft a quarterback.
No, you got to say
back in my day,
when they didn't throw the ball.
Back in my day,
they would draft, but they would typically try.
What y'all don't know about Joel is he invented the finger wag dance.
But they would
hot
diggity dog. They would typically try to let the quarterback sit. Yeah. And then once the Uber type quarterback of like the Peyton Mannings of the world started coming in, they made them start instead of letting them really sit, which was typically the plan. We're getting to a point now where the game is so much faster. Like a lot of these quarterbacks are not necessarily able to just come right in and just thrive. And so to a degree, like I was trying to make my point earlier, someone like a Dak Prescott who inherited a pretty good team, someone like Mahomes who inherited a good team, you try to insulate them. But then again, look at Aaron Rodgers. Look at Jordan Love. Well, look at a lot of guys that got a chance to sit for some time to actually really, like Caleb Williams, if you let him sit for a year and he comes out, he's probably going to be dynamic.
No, because it depends on who he's sitting behind.
Facts.
But you still got to learn the game. You're going to see the game.
Who did Kyler sit behind?
Yeah, you can see the game the wrong way.
Who did Kyler sit behind?
Okay. Kyler Murray.
The whole point is that
nobody.
Kyler Murray.
No, he started.
Kyler Murray is like the
Kyler Murray started day one.
But my point is just that
a good QB, just mentally.
A lot of times these guys do have the ability, but sometimes they may not be ready, but they also go through the pressure of you're a high draft pick, you have to start. And I just think that whatever quarterback, a lot of times these guys are under like Deshaun Watson was able to really kind of do a lot of off script stuff.
Deshaun Watson is an anomaly.
But he's one of the few guys that can start where other guys. I mean, you think if Mahomes came and started right away, he would probably have that. He would be doing what he's doing.
Probably.
He probably benefited from sitting just that one year.
He had a pretty good team.
I think he would
had
still
a great
be doing
team.
what he's doing, but he wouldn't have 3 Super Bowls. I think he would have.
He might have 4.
I think he would have leaned more on those.
I see this thing with
They
Joe
win the
Burrow
AFC championship game that year.
Said,
The one thing you can't undersell is Andy Reid has developed now 5 quarterbacks.
Facts.
Like Andy Reid just knows what he's doing.
Yeah,
that makes a difference.
The
question you have to ask us is, do we have a situation where our guy knows what he's doing? That's what the question is going to be with Shane Waldron. I don't know if the consensus is that you can get that Shane Waldron will get the most out of quarterbacks.
Who's Mr. Wait, we're Mr. I like Mr. Inglewood. He's like, well, Joe Burrow didn't start.
Like
Herbert did, he started. The whole point is that, but Burrow may not have a body left in the next 2 years because they didn't protect him and give him a full team.
But it has nothing to do with his talent.
But what I'm getting at is that
how long he's going to last. It's murdered.
A lot of it is getting them into a great. You want to try to get them the best situation for them to thrive. So if you can have an offensive line, you can have things in place for them.
Yeah, but most of these guys don't, though.
I'm just saying
most of these guys don't go to the best.
Right, they don't.
Deshaun Watson didn't go to the best situation to thrive. He actually went to one of the worst. He had 5 tight ends basically blocking for him every play.
I agree.
But it showed
like it would have been better.
That's the top of the draft, though.
I understand. I'm just saying that's the conundrum that we deal with high draft picks. It is such a it's not an exact science because a lot of times you don't know what happens when you put them in those situations instead of the perfect situation, which hardly ever happens. But when someone like Mahomes, who gets one of the perfect situations, and he can thrive, because otherwise, trust me, if everybody knew that he was the greatest of all time, he would have been the number one pick.
I would say this in agreement with you. The one thing that matters the most is whoever it is, even if it's still Justin, is that Shane allows them to be who they are. And that I think Patrick Mahomes has said it 3-4 times. Andy Reid let him be him. And he coached him along the way and things of that nature, but he allowed him to be him in that process. So he never lost his own identity. And that builds confidence. I think that if I'm being honest, that's the one thing that I feel like we've ruined in Justin, which is why I want him to go to a better situation where he can feel appreciated and stuff like that, because we've ruined his confidence.
Did we?
I don't think we ruined his confidence.
No, we didn't ruin his confidence.
I don't.
Here's the thing.
He's not the same. Like we even saw through times he regressed even through the passing mechanics that he was developing. You've said it. You said it on this show.
I think
he regressed several times. It's like, what are we doing?
I think he progressed a ton at the end of the season, and people just don't want to admit that because they're ready to move on to the next quarterback. Since from where he came back from injury, Justin Fields was a different quarterback. He was a better quarterback. He was a more efficient quarterback. Yes, everything didn't end with him being the savior every single day and him being the amazing quarterback that you wanted to see, but it did end with him winning the game. At the end of the day, winning the game is what it's about, and Justin Fields is able to lead his team to do that. With all the issues that we all cite are still issues. My issue is that Caleb Williams is going to show up here and we're just going to do all this again for the next 3 years because he was supposed to be generational. He was supposed to be number one, but guess what? He don't have a center. He don't have a left tackle. He doesn't have enough wide receiver help. He doesn't have a running game. He's going to have a new coach in a year because the same cycle starting over again is my issue with Caleb Williams. It's not that I don't think Caleb Williams can come into the league and play. It's just that I have a quarterback that's already dealt with that cycle and kind of knows how to navigate his way through it versus a quarterback who, maybe he does come in and maybe he does have a higher ceiling. But nobody ever says maybe he doesn't.
Homeboy.
It's like as much maybe he does it, and I said this on the Bears pod a couple of days ago. Be honest with me. Who's the greatest college quarterback y'all ever saw?
Greatest college quarterback I've ever seen. Am I supposed to say Tim Tebow?
Well, I mean, listen, for me, it's Tim Tebow.
That I've seen?
Yeah.
Tim Tebow's the greatest college quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
Mike Vick was
Buddy was nice. I ain't gonna lie to you.
I would say Tim Tebow, for me, right? Tim Tebow's the greatest college quarterback I've ever seen in my life.
Well, they were winning a lot.
The quarterback that
what about Cam?
Was bust in at USC.
I mean, Cam was on
the Matt Leinart?
Matt Leinart. To me, Matt Leinart was up there.
Matt Leinart was disappointing.
Because I watched Matt Leinart more than I watched.
Here's my point. Think of the names you just said, right? Yeah. Matt Leinart, good name, right? NFL.
Nothing.
I mean, Tim Tebow did have a nice little run.
No, he did.
But that was specialized
run. You know,
no. Here's the problem.
Hey, look, Jeremy Lin type.
Hey, look. No, here's the problem. though. He didn't. The team had a nice run, and they made the playoffs, and he won games.
But that's the scheme.
But John Fox looked at him and was like there's a clip going around where he's like, yo, this dude can't throw 15 yards.
Oh, Vince Young.
I mean, like
Manziel. All of those in common are at running quarterbacks that
I don't think Johnny Manziel was ever up there as one of the greatest quarterbacks.
Dude, he was doing.
He was nice.
Johnny football wasn't playing.
Johnny was fun.
I mean, Baker Mayfield to me was better than him in college.
But I'm just saying. But a lot of them,
Baker Mayfield was better in college than me.
A lot of those weren't necessarily. The only one that seemed to be poised to actually play of the people we listed is Leinart, who. But he went to Arizona and was like, "What happened with that?" I feel like we ruined his confidence when they played the Bears that year. That was
completely obliterated. Yeah,
that was the we let him off the hook. You know that was
the Denny Green.
Yeah, because they had us. And
I wanted to kind of in this
was Leinart on that team. That was Leinart that wasn't Leinart behind center, was it?
Yeah, that was Leinart. Leinart because they thought they had the game won. You know, and we kept Mike. Shout out to Mike Brown. You know, shout out to Hall of Fame Devin Hester. You know what I'm saying?
Hall of Famer, Devin Hester.
Hall of Famer.
Bringing that football back.
My point that I wanted to make real quick, going back to what PK said about, maybe Caleb Williams not having, the offensive line and the help that he needs. So he needs to, produce at a high level. Here's one of the main points that I got away from this article, which gave me some pause on, saying that this guy is going to be just the best thing since sliced bread coming out of college. You go back to the Holiday Bowl that the USC Trojans were in against number 15 Louisville.
Yeah,
he didn't play, maybe because he wanted to preserve himself for the upcoming draft. Right? Understandable. To me, that shows bad leadership. You play for your team in a bowl game.
You don't risk yourself.
I'm sorry.
You're about to go make millions of dollars. Sorry. No, you don't risk your $4 million.
But you can say the same thing through the whole season. Every game is a risk if that's the case.
Yeah, but at that point, you're not playing for nothing.
Well, in my opinion, that's bad leadership. I'm sorry. That was just bad leadership. But the main point is the quarterback that replaced him had his first career start, Miller Moss, threw for as many touchdowns as he has ever had, meaning Caleb Williams, in the game against an actual good team.
Joe Burrow has a backup that went nuts.
Yeah.
He actually had really good games. You think that he's better than Joe Burrow?
Who was his backup?
Vince Young. I just remember Texas.
But he went nuts. He actually had.
Here's my ultimate point, because you're making my point. Actually, is it the quarterback? Is it the talent completely on the quarterback, or is it Lincoln Riley's system that's quarterback friendly?
I mean, you're able to get the quarterback. The system. That's like Shanahan. If Shanahan gets Mahomes, the system with the quarterback, right? And then these coaches, and now with the transfer portal, you can just get a guy that leaves whenever they want to. So the system does work. These coaches do have a winning system. Can they recruit and get the players over here?
Can it translate to the NFL though? Because what I've heard and what I've read is that every quarterback that Lincoln Riley has developed is technically mid in the NFL. The best one that I can think of is Jalen Hurts.
Kyler Murray's a good quarterback. He just got attitude.
He was
Kyler Murray's not a leader, and people don't like that.
Wasn't he an MVP candidate?
Talent-wise, he's a great talent.
Was Kyler Murray candidate for MVP at the year that he was? Was he?
I don't know if he was an MVP candidate.
No, in the NFL. The year that before he got hurt.
The year when they
wasn't he in the running?
He was in the running. That's what I thought. He had a really good year. No, you're absolutely right.
But then he tore his ACL the year after that. That made a difference. I think here's the thing. Yes, the system does impact the players that they're in. That just means you need to have the right system.
There we go.
Yeah, but most of them they're all option based.
I'm not gonna.
No, you know who was the coldest? I'm not gonna. The coldest quarterback in college was Eric Crouch. Wasn't he wasn't it Oklahoma? He was amazing and was in Nebraska. He was trash.
I remember him
because it made me think
out of nowhere.
Because all those options, that's all they were doing for a while. Yeah. But I think Eric Crouch was amazing in college.
But I think that's the thing. Like when you look at it, right? Like, yes, Miller Moss came in, they were elite. You also are going out and getting the best talent.
That man for preaching.
You know what I mean? Like, it's not like it's not like Lincoln Riley brought in Miller Moss to USC and was like, nah, I got this trash quarterback behind him. Yeah, I expect in a couple years Miller Moss is going to be somebody that we're talking about at the quarterback position as well. You go get the best quarterbacks. But I think my thing at the end of the day with all of it is
That's how obvious that I've never heard that name in my life.
Yeah.
Look it up.
Hey,
Look
you
it up.
going back on that one, Joe?
Nah, he was like early. He was 2000s ish.
Yeah.
No, he was a problem.
We got this is
No, but
YouTube,
Jordan's
Joe.
point-
There's young people here.
I'm sorry. No, we have no shout out. No, we have a
I do
wide
remember Eric
demographic here. No, we span. No, but to your point, I think to your point is that you're saying that you think that Lincoln Riley doesn't necessarily develop
creates
real
a system.
quarterbacks.
He creates a system,
It's a system
that
that
makes
wins.
the quarterbacks. It doesn't matter what level of quarterback, because again, I don't know who Miller Moss is, but he came in right away and developed and or rather produced the same amount of
They
stats.
said that the same.
Yeah, but
thing with
you
Justin.
also went in there and you're playing against the backups that are at whatever, because half of their team wasn't playing either, right? You're also going out and getting the next guy that's probably going to be the starter next year that we're going to be talking about as a good quarterback, right? Like there's a lot of factors that go into that. It was like, yeah, sure, he played well. I expect him to play well because he's been in this system all year, right? The same thing that we talked about with sitting quarterbacks behind another quarterback in the NFL also applies in college. He's gotten to watch the system all year and see how it works, right? So he was able to go out there and get the job done. My point at the end of the day is I want to see this situation be different than what we've built.
Yeah.
And it feels like offensively we're heading towards something similar because guess what? Maybe Caleb does come in and he hits the ground running. But if he doesn't, Matt Eberflus ain't got no job.
Nope.
We got a whole new staff here next year. We've got a whole new, right? Like we're starting all over from square one.
I don't think that's the case.
I just
I
hate
think
these
he's very
narratives.
calculated, and there's a reason why they kept him, because they believe in that defense, and they think that they're a few players away from really competing if they tweak the offense. I think the moves they made is what makes sense. I just can't wait to get past this month.
2 months, baby.
Yeah, we got 2 more months.
I know, a month and a half, 2 months.
I can't wait I just hate the narratives. Like they said the same thing about OSU quarterbacks. Justin's OSU quarterback.
That's true.
Like,
but they weren't lying though.
They weren't wrong though.
They was a lot
CJ Stroud was the first QB to break the
But that's-
curse,
yeah,
so to
kinda.
speak.
But
You know
that
what
was
I'm
a
saying? Like,
no, because Fields is
Fields
Ohio
ain't
State.
broke
No, who else? Someone else is Ohio State.
No, just
I guess he
CJ.
was.
CJ Stroud.
Well,
CJ's the first one to break. And listen, he got to play year 2.
right. It could be a sophomore slump.
He gotta play year
Could be a
2.
sophomore
So
slump.
on the same note, like you got to think about it. Is it Lincoln Riley's system? Like you can say the same thing about the QB we have and look at the issues we're having with it. Like it's like
Yeah, but you
go down them rabbit holes. It's like, man, we get a lot of parallels. It's like them things don't work out the same way. If it's good for the goose, it's good for the gander. You can't say the same thing about where Caleb Williams is coming from and not look at where Justin Fields came from. And say the
Yeah,
same
but I mean, it's been kind of stated that Matt Nagy, even though he says BU, he didn't allow Justin Fields to be himself.
But
he didn't play to his strengths. Then we know that it was found out that Getsy didn't do that either. And so when you constantly putting a quarterback under different regimes year after year after year, that's not helping out his development and growth.
That's context after the fact, but coming into it, what was the narrative on OSU quarterbacks?
Oh, that they can't translate to the league. Yeah.
And what ended up
That's a
happening.
fact.
But a lot of times these
is it
You got to
fair?
think about that kid. That's one in
Who was the one before Justin?
Terrell Pryor.
Then
Oh,
you
he
had the
was
guy
a
who passed
monster.
away, unfortunately.
Haskins.
Haskins wasn't good.
Troy Smith.
Dwayne Haskins wasn't good.
Yeah.
I know. I didn't say they were.
Damn,
I'm
you
just-
say it like that.
Yeah, you
though.
had.
He wasn't. He got
But
better.
it's the
he
systems
wasn't
that
good
these
for him,
guys
yeah.
are running that doesn't translate. So it's trying to find, it's the David Cutcliffe with the Danny Dimes from Duke, and he's going to be the next guy. And pro style. You're looking for a pro style. I mean, Andrew Luck was,
Andrew Luck was nice in Stanford.
Yeah,
Stanford.
some of these guys are able to transfer, but
I will say this. The only thing I will say, it's been said multiple times. Someone said it in the chat. Said it on Chicago Bears podcast. Again, go tune into that one. Great content out there. My man over there killing it again. Caleb is supposed to be, and he does look like a more polished passer. It just is
Than
what
Justin at the college level.
even now.
I mean,
but I got to see you do it in the pros.
I gotta see you doing the pros.
Again,
That's the
I gotta
difference.
see
I'm
you
not
do
even.
it.
I'm not even comparing him. I'm not comparing being a college.
We not trading no pick, dog.
Daniels,
I'm not
the other
comparing
Heisman winning
being a-
quarterback.
I think it's a
And
bad
get her haul.
comparison too, but that's what that's.
But
what
I'm not comparing being a good college passer to being a good pro passer. I've seen a lot of great college passers not be able to be great pro passers
Jamarcus
because
Russell.
it takes too long. Jamarcus Russell didn't work hard. Listen, that's a whole different one.
That's
along with
hey,
that.
Jamarcus
Yeah, you're right,
Russell,
along with that.
Jamarcus Russell got 2 chain stories. Yeah, I mean, like that's all you need to know about that. Like he got that. They said chains. I think it was this a while ago. I heard this story. It might have been on what was the show with Poppy, the Dan Le Batard show. It was on that. He basically said, I think Bomani asked him like, "What's the craziest night you've ever had with an athlete?" And 2 Chainz was like, or no, Lil Wayne was like, "Oh, that's your boy." He was like, "Who?" Oh no, Chainz was like, "Oh, that's your boy." To Wayne, he said, "Who?" He said, "The Wayne used to come through with all the Trinite in the bag." He said, "Oh, he talking about Jamarcus Russell," and it was like, "Wait, what?" He said, "I said a night, not a career." Like, wait a minute, like, oh yeah, Jamarcus Russell was a wild boy. He wanted to be a partier more than he wanted to be a quarterback.
That's crazy.
Yeah, but you know what? Once you get that money
off that Trinite.
See, again, that all goes into what makes you either elite or just average. Like the coaching, the system, your also willingness to be better than what you are. Like your off-season workouts, what you put into all that personally, like in your off time, like all that goes into it.
Yeah.
Shout out to Super Chat. Dan Tanner says, I have to see Caleb do that behind the Bears' inconsistent O-line. The line matters. I'm just saying.
Line definitely matters. And there's a lot of factors that have to play out here. It's not just answering the quarterback position. You have to answer a ton of questions. And that's why, to me, right, like I do have questions on Caleb Williams. Do I think Caleb can be a good quarterback at the NFL level? Yes. Can he be a good quarterback on the Bears? Yes. Mm-hmm. Will he? I don't know.
Or we could trade.
All right. I appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love.
The other Heisman winning.
Hold on. I got this question.
You know what I said? Because my point was this. If Caleb is this generational dude, then he should have won the Heisman 2 years in a row. He should have been hands down. It's been him the whole time.
Like Lamar Jackson.
But this year is Jaden in the SEC. Pat dispels that, he played against lesser competition. Yeah, I'm just saying, but we can get that, still trade that pick, get the haul. And if you want to move on from a quarterback and we still get this other Heisman winning quarterback.
What do you like about Jaden?
I don't know. I'm just saying. There
we go.
He's athletic. He can throw the ball. No, he can. What I don't like, he seems a little smallish. Like he does.
He's 6'4".
Yeah, but he's got that skinny wide.
He is 210.
Yeah, he kind of looks a little like stringy. Like
he is.
Versus like Justin's a
grown man Justin.
Yeah, Justin's
20 pounds a lot in the NFL.
He's 230. He's a serious dude.
20 pounds a lot.
235.
He's a big dude.
210, 250. They got him listed at 215.
Okay.
I mean, hey, listen. Technically, he's the same height. Was 6'4".
Shout out to Mike Nice.
Yeah, but it depends on.
And
like he's built like
6'4".
He's built like Deshaun Watson to me.
Yeah.
Jaden. He's built like Deshaun Watson.
Deshaun looks bigger than him.
No, Deshaun was skinny. That was his knock coming out of college. He had skinny wrists, skinny ankles. He was a thin kid. Like he had weight on him, but he was a thin kid.
But he'll gain weight. He'll gain and probably gain.
Yeah, he'll get to about 220 probably by the combine.
Yeah. So I mean, but the point is that you have a pedigree. It's not easy to win a Heisman, especially throwing the ball. He still threw for 4,000 yards. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's the whole point, is that whatever we get, if we can put a quarterback in the right situation to thrive, either we fix the situation for Fields to thrive, or if it's Caleb. But I would say trade everything, go down. If you can go to 2 and still take the quarterback, if you want to move on, it makes more sense to me. More sense.
There you go.
We'll see what it ends up being, man. Appreciate you guys for tuning in and showing love to another episode. I just wanted to stop being like those CDL videos. That's all I'm hoping for. Who? You know, though, y'all. Well, this may be something I'm stuck in on my algorithm. I have gotten it to a point where it sounds bad. It's almost like I like to see people fail. But when like them dudes in the CD, they got all the CDLs during COVID and didn't really train on none of that stuff, like crash their cars into stuff, or they take like the top of the truck off because the bridge is too low.
Oh, that's called a tuna can.
Bro, like it cracks me up every time.
That's called a can. That's called a can.
Bro, it cracks me up every single time because here's the thing that they never do. Oh man, that sounded like some noise. What's going on?
They just keep it pushing.
Hey, bro, they just keep hitting the gas.
Like,
bro.
I know you
like, what did you do? Oh man, but no, hit that like button, subscribe to the page, leave that 5-star review. Y'all know what to do. As always, it's your boy Pat the Designer back at it again. Joined by the pettiest man alive, Mr. P Kid. Of course, the super producer Joel Holt and Jordan JC over at the Chicago Bears Breeze. Y'all stay safe out there, Chicago. One love, bear down. Peace.
One love.